We're going to talk now to anyone out there who made getting in shape and perhaps losing some weight a New Year's resolution. You know that you're not alone. Hopefully you also know it is not an easy resolution to keep, but a lot of that can be the result of your mindset. So we're very happy this morning to have Courtney Stoddard on the show. She is with Focus Treatment Centers, a certified eating disorders dietitian there, and she's going to give us kind of a different twist, right, on how to achieve the same results you're looking for, but with a more positive mindset. Is that a fair way to set it up?
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Yes.
One way is, I guess, to remember that a diet is simply the way you eat.
That's right.
It is not a weight loss plan. You can have a fast food diet, right?
Or some people have to follow a medical, diet of some type, but yeah, it doesn't have to be restrictive.
So that's, once you try to make something restrictive, that's a negative, and all of a sudden your mind is just focusing on that. So your suggestion is to go back to the old ways of thinking, like eat in moderation?
Yeah, that's right. It's not as flashy sounding, but really we just encourage focusing on small steps, which actually can have a lasting change, as opposed to an extreme measure like a lot of the fad diets will encourage.
Do you, back to the restrictive word, is it a good idea, rather than saying, okay, I'm not going to eat this, to instead try to say to yourself, I'm going to eat more carrots or whatever? Yes,
exactly. So we encourage, maybe a goal of increasing some foods or food groups that are lacking, such as fruits and vegetables that give us great vitamins, minerals, and fiber. Or increasing variety of those foods, as opposed to cutting out foods or food groups.
Mm-hmm. So you had said that, and I've heard this before too, that often when you go on a weight loss diet, you often tend to gain more weight back than you had to begin with. Why is that?
Yeah, studies actually show that 2/3 or more of dieters will regain the weight that they lost, and actually more so. Diets really are damaging to our metabolism, and that restrictive nature that they have kind of slows down our metabolism to a crawl, because it's not sure when it's going to get the next source of energy. Mm-hmm. And so over time that can really, the yo-yo dieting and the weight fluctuations can damage metabolism and lead to that rebound weight gain.
I might be stepping into a bad path here, because we just got through saying it's important to be careful how you address the idea of food and not be restrictive. I think most of us tend to have some type of emotional eating. Mm-hmm. I'm bored, I eat person. Mm-hmm. If I'm working, I'm fine, but if I'm home and not doing anything, the pantry beckons. Yeah. My husband is a stress eater. Mm-hmm. Is identifying what causes you to eat helpful?
Yes, absolutely. And, to an extent, emotional eating is part of normal eating. Mm. It's normal, to eat out of emotion at times. And yes, some people will start to use that as their primary coping mechanism, or start to do it when they feel stressed. And identifying that is a big step. Mm-hmm. Identifying what kind of eater you are, or even what kind of emotional eater you are.
So something that happened to me the other day, I was just really hungry. So I sat down and I can't think of what I was eating. Oh yeah, I do remember. But I was eating and eating and eating, and finally I thought, okay, you're gonna pay the price for this in a minute, because my stomach couldn't keep up with my eyes, or whatever I'm trying to say. Yeah. So I paused a minute, and then I realized, you know what, I'm really not hungry anymore. But that's a true thing too, right? We eat too fast.
Yes, we eat too fast. We're often multitasking. And, to an extent, we're going to have to do that. Just that's the nature of things. We might have to eat when we're driving, or eat when we're on the computer or the phone. But as much as possible, we encourage you to try and slow down at least. Mm-hmm. And that's one of those small steps that I'm encouraging people to make, is slowing down the eating pace. Because our bodies can and will tell us when we're full, when we're hungry and when we're full. We just have to listen to it. Mm-hmm. And by slowing down, we can really tune into that signal.
Is the way your food is presented important? Like if you have a pretty plated meal, does that enhance the fun?
It does. So there's this whole concept of mindful eating, And part of mindful eating is using all your senses to really taste and enjoy the food. And so yes, the presentation, that sense of sight really does enhance our experience of the meal.
I hear a lot, we all hear a lot about, no, I'm going to go with this option because there's more protein in that. We're a big protein eating group of people now.
We are.
But do people make mistakes then? Because your body needs carbs. You've got to have that fuel, don't you?
Yes. You know, and our body actually requires 50% of our total food intake in a day from carbohydrate.
15%?
50.
50%?
Half of our intake from carbohydrate, which is our body's primary and preferred macronutrient that it runs on. But that's not just the grains food group, that's what everyone thinks. It's actually in almost every food group, so grains, dairy, fruits, some vegetables. And then after that, fat. And then the lowest one is actually protein. So we need about 20% of our daily intake from protein. So not as much as people think.
Okay, it's just that, just like if you're going to go buy a dress, you can go to one store and get a dress, or you can go to a really nice boutique and get a dress. They're both dresses. Yeah. So if you're going to be consuming carbs, you just want the best quality carb for your body. Is that right?
Yes. I mean, in terms of grains, the recommendation is to make half of your grains whole. So nothing crazy.
Okay.
Just half. And those whole grains will provide some more nutrients and some fiber.
Okay, let's talk about where we are in the calendar, because are we in right now Eating Disorder Awareness Month, or is that the end of February?
So it's actually the end of February. The whole month of February is Eating Disorder Awareness, but there's a specific week, February 27th through March 5th, where it's very recognized. So Eating Disorders Awareness Week. And that's where, you know, we're promoting awareness about this psychological disorder that has the second highest rate of death, just second to opioid overdose.
You know, there are commercials that you see on TV now probably for talking about mental health and depression, and I think it's very effective because it shows all these people, somebody who's struggling with the depression, and all the things that people tend to say, which is what you ought not to say, like, go for a walk, oh, you'll feel better if, the platitudes that we throw out. The same is true if you know somebody who's struggling with an eating disorder. The temptation to say, oh, well, just eat, or take your mind off of it, or you look great. Those are really bad things to say. Am I right?
Yeah, they can be. They can be triggering and just not helpful, because if that person could just eat, they would. That's where it becomes, you know, it's a psychological disorder. It's not a choice when it's to the point of being an eating disorder. So the National Eating Disorders Association actually has some great tips on their website for what to say and what not to say, or how to help someone get help. And that's nationaleatingdisorders.org.
And with you, and I give people the information for you at Focus, obviously if they're really in a position to need inpatient care, hopefully by now they're in the care of somebody who can facilitate that. But you do have support groups for families. You have day patient care as well, is that right? All of it?
Yes, so we have our eating disorder program locally here in Chattanooga, and part of that program is family work and family education and family therapy sessions. You know, and then we also offer outpatient nutrition counseling. So this is just for anyone who might need or want help with their nutrition, some guidance. Doesn't have to be as extreme as an eating disorder.
Oh, okay.
As kind of that first step.
All right, then here is how you can get in touch with them. And remember, everyone on the planet is on some type of a diet. You just want to be living healthy. That's right. The way to look at it. FocusTreatmentCenters.com is that website. Their phone number is 308-2560. Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you.